All right, we have had some major internet issues. My computer was not working as I wanted it to, but I think we are pretty good to go. And we're going to check to see if people can see this. That way, everything is up and running. All right, all right, all right. We're going to check everybody. Reset now. So this should be okay. We should be live. I'm letting everybody know that the page is good to go. Hey, right here to be good. Okay, 2 minutes ago. All right, so it looks like we have 4 people on here, and let me know in the comments if you can see any of this, if you can hear the sound of my voice, if you can hear the helicopter that's flying over my RV out of nowhere. Oh man, let's just see this. Oh, it should be working. It should be working. Okay, I can see myself on my. Okay, no, I can see myself from the page. All right, so we are definitely live. Everybody else needs to just refresh the page. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna send a quick message. We are definitely live. Okay, so then we're just gonna keep going from here. All right, so welcome everybody to Rocket Rig Market. Okay, you can definitely hear me now. All right, cool. I actually want to get in the helicopter and slay this dragon that's just flying around Smaug. Oh, if you've ever seen that movie and you know exactly what I'm talking about, that is, that's exactly what people are facing every single day, and it doesn't even have to be um it doesn't have to be one particular thing. It's an allegory that it can be applied to every circumstance in your life. And there really is a dragon that is trying to consume your life, and it is the lies that you have been told throughout your entire life. And what we're going to talk about tonight is the most like how to utterly slay this dragon within. And I can say this from my own personal experience that I know what it's like to have social anxieties, to where you really don't know what to say to people, where you don't know how to engage with people, you don't even know how to make friends, you don't even know how to get into uh, uh, you don't even really know how to start relationships because you're so isolated you're under this control of this dragon that loves to put fear in you, and you have to put this thing down. There's just no question about it. And it took me some time to actually get into to finally put that thing down and to have some real genuine peace in my life. And there are 12 features that we're going to be talking about tonight. Okay, you again, D. All right, so I think everybody can hear me just fine. Go ahead, drop something in the comments saying, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I see you. I can hear you just fine. Connection's good. I'm kind of curious about the internet connection because we are live from my RV, and I want everybody to have a good, clear connection with that. So we'll just keep going with that. All right, so number one way is that I've got my notes down here, so I'm going to be reading from them if you see me looking down, because I want you to have the best information possible to help you slay your own inner dragon, because there is one that is trying to control your life. All right, so the first one is decisiveness. Now, that inner dragon is always going to make you doubt yourself. It's always going to be flying around, and it's always going to be breathing down your neck saying that you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't make goals. And there's no way that you can succeed in anything in life. And if you're okay, so we do have a good connection, right? Good. All right, so there's the first one you want to focus on is being decisive. And what is being decisive? It means you know how to take control and make a decision. This is one of the things that a lot of people will be very attracted to when they see you step up and you start to take massive action to utterly slay that dragon that is absolutely trying to destroy your life. And when you make a decision, it's just these leadership skills are just so attractive. It's impossible to not be attracted to people who are faced with the most impossible circumstances that suddenly drop into their lap, and their world is either going to end or they are going to rise up with a plan and say, I'm going to go just balls to the walls against this thing and bring it down. And you have to know exactly, you have to know yourself to know your own inner dragon. And for me, it was just it was being accepted by people. There was more to it, but when it comes to relationships, I really had no clue as to how to build relationships with people. I can remember being all the way up till 8th grade that I really had I had isolated myself because I would sit there in class and not say a word. I would literally be afraid to say anything for the fear of people laughing at me. And then as I got into high school, I only had one good friend who ended up stabbing me in the back and betraying me and not having anything to do with me. And so I went back to square one of, okay, I'm all by myself, which ended up being a blessing in disguise because that's when I found God. And that's when I started to really rely on Him to get my mindset in the right place. And so when you're being decisive, it's actually very, very attractive to people. I'm going to read my notes here. So when you take the initiative, it's actually initiative is actually the start of something with the hope that it's actually going to continue. When you take the initiative on something, you're actually taking action with the hope that it's going to continue. So when you rise up and you are going against these thoughts, you're going against these people, the thoughts that people have injected into you, you want to you want to have the hope that it's going to continue to dominate whatever it is that these people have put against you. And so, when people take action, it's actually a very attractive thing because everybody else is battling with some kind of dragon in their life. There's somebody out there who is just the exactly where you are, and they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do, but they're literally walking around totally depressed, and they just don't know what to do. And in the business world, people are just like totally trapped. They're trapped. They don't know what to do. I was talking to a guy at a place. I went out for breakfast out in a different place after I went for an interview, and then this guy was sitting right next to me, and we started chit chatting. We started talking, and he was talking to me about how he's coming up in his 5th year of being totally free from drugs, and that was his dragon, where it had dominion over him, and it was controlling his entire life. The sickness, the depression. He says nobody really knows about it unless you've been there, and that is something like I believe him that unless you're actually in that state of depression, nobody really knows about that. And he said it was just one decision where he just made up his mind and said, I'm not doing this anymore. And he's been clean ever since then. And that's really what it comes down to. Being decisive. When you are decisive, when you know that's a decision that I need to make. And when you're coming into a business world, you're going to be working with people who have multiple different personalities. So you have to portray yourself as a leader that you make decisions. You see something, that's where we're going. You see something you don't like, we're not doing that. You make decisions. You're a decisive person. This is what gets people to be very, very attractive to you. Does that make sense? Let's drop a comment. If this is making sense to you. All right, so let's keep on. Let's continue on. All right, so number 2. This is actually something I did not practice today. It is actually being prompt and punctual. This is one of the things that I was not, the dragon got to me today, is I was not punctual. Okay, so we're still clear. Everybody's getting this. Okay, cool. All right, so being prompt and being punctual, I know for a fact that when I feel like I have to be on time for something, I feel like there's like a fear of commitment. And for me personally, that has always been there. I've always had that fear of commitment, being committed to one particular thing. But when it comes to business and you are committed to the success of your own brand, your own ministry, your own team, whatever it is self-serving. So as you continue to tell yourself, I'm actually helping myself, I'm actually serving myself, I'm actually giving back to me by being prompt and being punctual with my business. And a lot of people still, they refuse to do anything like that. I know that is definitely one of the things that I must attack. I must go at it, and I must figure out, okay, being prompt and being punctual means I'm just serving myself, and there's no consequences to any of that. And Ralph Waldo Emerson actually made this really amazing quote, and he says, "What you do speaks so loud that I cannot hear what you say." And that is a really amazing thing, because with the book Win Bigly, there's a link on this page somewhere. You've got to get it. If you are highly attracted to persuasion, you're highly addicted to influencing people, this is a fantastic book about how to actually get that done. And one of the things that I just got a phone call coming in, and I had to say, nope, we're on a live right now. So when you are, oh man, I just that was that shifted my attention right there. I'm trying to get focused right back into it. So let's take a look back into our notes here. It was so weird because I was gonna do my webinar back near my other computer, but I couldn't. People were watching TV, so I came back over here. All my notes were on my other computer screen, and then I said to myself, I better just copy paste, send it to myself. So I got my notes right here instead of looking over right here. So we're trying to do 2 things at once and not trying to look weird and a little awkward, but this is the way it is, so I really don't care. All right, so people who take action are definitely very attractive. It is a personal quality to take it upon yourself to get things done. This is so huge. This is really, really impressive. When other people see you making a decision and you say, no matter what other people think, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've been telling people lately that my car's been kind of breaking down and I want to get another car. They're like, what do you want to get? And I said, I'm getting a Jeep. And they say, you can't get a Jeep. Jeeps roll over. I'm like, Jeeps don't roll over. People who drive stupid roll their Jeeps right over. Oh, but it's so big on gas. And I was like, I don't really care. I want to have a Jeep because I'm going to go take my sister and my cousin down the backwoods, when summer comes, and we're going to have a great time just driving down these awesome mud trails, kicking up kicking up mud, kicking up water, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole reason as to why I have it, so I can bring people together. Oh, but I wouldn't get a Jeep if I were you. But and you know, it just comes right back to, um, it just really comes back down to that inner quality that says, you know what, I really want that, so that we can have all that time together. You know, and so when you have other people come against you and they just tell you like, oh, I wouldn't do that, you know, I wouldn't do that if I were you, that's exactly what they're telling you what they would or would not do. I wouldn't do that, but it doesn't matter what they want you to do. All that matters is what you are going to do. What you are going to do is going to determine your results. So if you want to get out, if you want to utterly slay the dragons of, you know, that other people come in and they start telling you things that you shouldn't do, you know, if you look at the circumstances and you say to yourself, I'm willing to take the calculated risk, you know, what's the problem? You know, you can't care about that kind of stuff. You just go and you do it. One of the things too that will utterly slay any kind of like sales resistance in yourself is when you are a well-mannered person. You know, when your outward appearance speaks, it really does speak for itself. When people look at me, it was funny the other day, somebody actually gave me the comment of saying that I look like a trucker that just came out of the woods. And I said, yeah, maybe. I do like the woods. I do like coming out of, you know, out of a hiking trail or something like that. I do enjoy that kind of thing. And um but there are other times where when I'm dressed appropriately and I'm talking with somebody, like yesterday when I was talking with this guy who was interested in looking for some kind of opportunity. I was actually well dressed. I had on a nice suit. I had on a nice button down shirt. I had on a nice hat. And I just got back from an interview. And so my attitude changed, and my well-mannered behavior, I was trying to portray like a well-mannered behavior in that sense. And I was my whole goal was aiming for him to like say, hey, you know what, I see the value in you and I want to help you get to that point. And when you portray yourself as somebody who is just well dressed, well mannered, or dressed for an occasion to like attract a certain crowd, like I had this American flag. I have on clothes that look like, you know, the majority of like hillbilly Americans, like they wear kind of like these kind of clothes. They have the American flag back out there. They got they got Lester, the little stuffed animal Lester Moose that's like sitting in the background. You know, depending on how you dress, you're going to be portraying a particular message to people. And you know, if you want to attract that certain crowd, then you will attract that crowd, and you won't have to worry about what other people expect you to be. You know, if you don't want to be a classy guy, and if you don't want to care at all about what other people think, you want to just dress like me. You want to show up with your hat on backwards, whatever. You will utterly slay the dragon. You will not care about what other people think because you're going to be surrounding yourself with people who are just like you, and that is definitely what you want to do. Also, smile more. If you are on camera, you want to be looking right into the camera and you want to be having a good time and just flat out smiling more. If you start smiling into the camera, if you start smiling into the phone, people are going to start recognizing you for that. I guarantee it. And you won't have that like that sense of nervousness or whatever. You're not going to be feeling like you gotta perform some other way or whatever. Like if you have a smile on you and you are talking into the camera, people are going to just say, that's a happy looking guy. You know, that's the kind of guy I might want to work with. Maybe I should work with him. Maybe I shouldn't. But I tell you what, if you get around people who are smiling a lot, it's just gonna rub off and it's gonna end up slaying the inner dragon inside of them. You don't want to be going around like I did with a frown on your face forever. Oh, not a creepy smile. David doesn't like the creepy smile. You know, when I get on there, we have our little talks. I take my fake teeth out and I just put on a smile. David, you know, why don't we just sit around and talk like that? Right. This is my show. I do what I want with it. All right. So then, all right. So the next one, you know, David's probably rolling all over South Africa right now, is a good sense of humor right there. That was perfect. It just went like right into the next segment. If you want to utterly slay the dragon inside yourself, you have got to allow your sense of humor to come out. People are deathly attracted to that. They will not shy away from that. It doesn't matter, male or female. It does not matter. People love being around other people who have a tremendous sense of humor. And the way to do that is just be yourself. You know, I can remember where I literally just, I would go on YouTube and I would just type in how to be funny. And I would not know, I wouldn't know what to do. I would not know, like how do I be funny? And it, you know, some of you right now, you know what I'm talking about. But in order to be funny to other people, you can't appeal to them. You can't appeal to other people. You just have to be yourself and you have to start doing the things that make you laugh. You want to do the things that make other people that make other people comfortable around you. Because if you're attracting people who are like you, who know you, who like you, who trust you, then you can just be yourself, and then everybody else is gonna laugh at that because they're all like you. Because when you're trying to win the crowd, you know, you're trying really hard, win the crowd, you know, slay the dragon, you know, slay the dragon, win the crowd, that kind of deal. Just take that sense of humor that you have and put it into good use. That is exactly what you want to do. You want to have that good sense of humor. You got a dry sense of humor? Man, my brother-in-law, he had the driest sense of humor. But man, he was funny. That kid was just always spot on. He was witty and he was intelligent. And he did not try to be like anybody else. He just used his intelligence as his sense of humor. Like when we were talking about, man, what was it? He was saying how he was making reference to my former spouse's cooking. You know, she was phenomenal with food. Like she could just like wipe out Gordon Ramsay easy. But so anyway, he was making a reference to her cooking, and she's like, yeah, you know, I think the chicken's on the verge. And he's like, well, what did you do? You put it on top of the fridge? And he said it in such a way that like he was so serious about it too. He's like, would you put it on the fridge? And he and it was so perfect. And I loved his sense of humor. And we all laughed about that. But he wouldn't compromise. He wouldn't try to be somebody else. He would not try to be what other people expected him to be. He was just acting like himself. So if you want to slay that dragon that's within you, and I keep saying this, you've got to be yourself. I can say this about me. I did not know how to be funny. And then I just started to really understand that I got to tell stories from my point of view. And once I started doing that one story at a time, now everybody laughs at what I say, except Dave. Dave doesn't laugh at anything I say. All right, so then the next thing you want to talk about is, I mean that, Dave, you just don't laugh at anything. So, all right, so maintain a fun and easygoing conversation. You know, this always attracts people to them. When you have a fun and easygoing, you know, personality, even the dragon likes you, you know, you got to have like that, you know, you got to go up to You know, the fun and easygoing personality. I was actually thinking about this yesterday and how I was going. Oh man. Oh wait. Oh wait. I mean, super serious. Yes, Dave. You're super serious. You know, it's actually rubbing off on me. Can you cut it out? So yesterday I went out and I was looking at a Jeep, and this Jeep, I've been thinking about it for ever since I laid eyes on it. I wanted to have this Jeep. And the reason was like I like if I had this Jeep, I think it would be much better than my car. That's not what happened. I actually went yesterday. I called the guy. I said, "Yeah, I'd like to go and give it a test ride." And he's like, "Okay." So I went over there. He had to jump in to start it, and I was listening to it. It sounded really good. I'm like, I'm actually feeling good about this right now. I'm feeling really good about this. So I get into it and I start driving down the road, and we drove down the road. We turned around. We came back. He took it off the road, so I had to just like drive down, come back, and then I got out of it and I kissed the ground that I got off of. That as soon as I got out of that Jeep, I kissed the ground because that thing was not fun and it was not easy going. That was not fun and that was not easy because what would happen is I'd hold on to the steering wheel and it would suddenly shift like over to the left. It would shift over to the right. And I'm thinking to myself, I gotta compensate. It's going this way. I gotta turn it this way. And then I'm gonna go this way. I'm like, why am I driving this thing? I was like, this is not an easy going ride. I don't like this. I don't want to be in this thing anymore. You know, when people are like, you know, what was it? There was what's that phrase? That if you have a double-minded person is unstable in all their ways. And that is so true. If you read the book of First and Second Samuel, you'll see a king, King Saul. He's just double-minded in everything. The dude was just dumb. And as far as like being a king and leading the people, man, that dude did not know how to lead the people. I love those books because then it contrasts. It shows a king who actually steps in and who knows what to do, who knows how to lead the people and how to be uncompromising and to be. It doesn't really go into the details of like, you know, if he was fun and easygoing. That's not really where I was going. But if you're not fun and if you're not easygoing, you're probably going to end up being double-minded. And if you're double-minded, you're going to be completely unstable in all of your ways. That is a dragon that will have total dominion over you. You do not want to live you don't want that in your life. I know how that feels. I know how that feels. When you got something that like you have two beliefs that are just completely opposite of each other and you're protecting those beliefs, doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you do, the depression will be there. And that's what it is. It's a depression. It's when you're being held down to believe something that is just not true. All right, so to be fun and easy going, you know, just you definitely want to just go with the flow. You want to look at something. And the way I was going at it was, I remember where I was going to end with the Jeep. So when I got out of the Jeep, I actually felt safer in the car that I need to replace versus that. And I was thinking to myself, if my car blew a tire, I would probably feel safer inside of this thing. And I would be like so easygoing about it. I would make fun of it. And instead of getting mad at something like that, instead of freaking out, you know, I would just go with the flow with all that. So you want to be fun, you want to be easygoing with whatever happens because things are just gonna happen, and the people at your team is gonna be looking to you when they say, to you know, when things just don't go right, they're gonna want you to be the fun and easy guy. Say, okay, this isn't working. This is where we're gonna go. Let's go here. And you know, this is the way it is. It's one of the most attractive features that you're gonna have as a leader. All right, and then Number 7 is a big one. This I would write down. This is actually one of the most attractive. This is one of the most attractive ways that you want a MacGyver Jeep. I don't remember what the MacGyver Jeep is. I'd have to go look it up. But I tell you what, Dave, if you come up here, we'll build some MacGyver toys and we'll go experiment with them. If I go to Texas, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. Okay, I'm going to get the Jeep. We're going on a bunny trail right now. We're gonna get the Jeep. We're gonna get down this dirt road. I'm gonna have like 1,000 acres all to myself. We're gonna set up some targets. And oh my goodness, is he really say, yeah, we're gonna get some targets. We're gonna put some tannerite on that stuff. And I'm gonna give you a special little squirt gun so you can like take those things right out. So go look up tannerite and see what that is. Because that would be we would have, so it would be fun and easy going for that day. All right, so number 7, Google the Jeep. Of course I'm going to Google the Jeep, MacGyver Jeep. Who wouldn't Google the MacGyver Jeep? All right, so number 7, it actually goes right into what I'm saying right now, is to be a good listener. This is actually super attractive to people. This is so attractive to your team. And when you start to be a good, now I started to pay attention to how I was responding to this in my trade. I'm a maintenance electrician. I take things apart. I put it all back together. I figure out what's wrong. That's actually a little bit backwards. I take things apart, I figure out what's wrong, and then I put it back together. You know, you want to solve the problem, you know, from that instance. And the only way I can fix this, the one and only way I can fix this machine that is the only way I can actually fix this machine is by listening to the operators, because the operators of this machine work with it all day long. They go in, they change out things, they put more material inside of it. They know how it's supposed to work. Now, if the operators weren't there, I mean, they wouldn't be printing paper, and I wouldn't be making an income with this company. And without listening to them, without being a good listener, there's no way that we can work together. If you have this sense of like, I don't listen to anybody, nobody can tell me what to do, that's a dragon. That is a dragon having complete dominion over your soul. I know people like that, where you cannot tell them anything, and they think that they're right, and yet they're so confused as to why they're living on the street. People literally that I know are literally. Now, there are some people who have figured it out and said, well, I got to make a choice. And they've been making amazing choices. And their life is going in a really good direction right now because they listened. But if I've got one friend that I've had for a long time, just making a decision where he just refuses to listen to people. And he ended up in a place where he's not a good listener. And to be a good listener, you have to say to yourself, you have to allow yourself to be comfortable not knowing everything. That's going to be really attractive to your team, to other people who want to do business with you. You have got to be a good listener. And it's just so. All right, Maria, thank you for coming on. That's awesome. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for coming here. It's so good to see you. So you got to be a good listener. All right, so number 8, you want to show signs of stability. Now, if you're coming into this and you are dedicated to your relationships, with your family, with your friends, with your prospects, with creating content, you're showing signs of stability. These are the signs that like you are taking out the dragon that says you can't do this. You're not good enough to do any of this. I can remember hearing people saying that like I wasn't good enough to be in a band, you know, to be in a rock band. And I said, well, I I continually practice and I write the music that I know my audience would like to hear. I just can't find the drummer, the singer, you know, the bass player. I can't find those people. I'm always looking for them, and I just haven't found them yet. But this person was always saying, "Oh, it's so competitive." You know, like people compete, you know, always for like the number one spot. And I was like, I'm not trying to be number one in the world. I'm just trying to be the best for the few people who are gonna love my music. And I always got the attitude of like, oh, you're just being proud. You know, you're just trying to be, you know, pray. All right. I'm great at playing the CD. David, you're funny. I'm great at playing the cassette player, the VHS. You know, I challenged a kid the other day. I was like, do you know what a VHS is? Do you know what a VHS player does and how it works? And he was maybe around 20 years old. And he says, yeah, I know what it is. I play it for my kids. And I was like, oh, okay. So he knew what a VHS player was, and there's gonna be a day when it comes where they're gonna say, like, you know, what's a CD player, right? Or what's a tape player, you know, and what's an MP3 player, you know? Well, that's gonna take a while, but when you're showing signs of stability, you're demonstrating the great relationships that you have with friends and family, that you're on the right path. You know, you're on the right path towards a great career. When I was on the interview that I was going for the job, uh, which looked really really good for me. The whole if I had my my special license to get for this state, I have to be licensed in this state to get this particular job. And it would have been so sweet. I would have been able to get even more money. I would be able to double my income because of this. Because I would have been on the right, if I had gotten a license, I would have been on the right path to get even more income. But that was a bunny trail. I didn't even mean to go down that road. You want to show signs of stability, just being in relationships when other people can actually see that you are in just these top-notch relationships, that you are devoted, you are loyal, you are committed. People want to see commitment, they want to see consistency, and they want to see that when things go wrong, you're calm, you're cool, you're collected about the whole situation. And that stability is highly attractive to other people who are looking for leaders. It was funny because yesterday when I was talking to this guy about him looking to join an opportunity, he didn't know what he was looking for. He's like, I just want to be with a guy on the top. And I just dismissed that, and I just kept asking questions, and I just kept showing interest in him. And him and I talked for like an hour, hour and a half. Now, if he was really looking for somebody who was at the top, he wouldn't have spent an hour, hour and a half talking to me, and I let him do all the talking. He would have just like disregarded it. So don't be intimidated by people who are saying like, I'm just looking for leaders who are just like so like right up there. No, it doesn't. That's not true. It's not true. They think that those people are valuable, and the people on the bottom really don't have a good understanding. Now, that actually leads into the next point, which is confidence, number 9. If you demonstrate confidence, you are going to slay the dragon in other people and in yourself. And being confident is just, it's when you are not, it's when you are just being confident. It's when you're confident in yourself and in the things and the choices that you do. That is actually going to be very, very attractive to people. And once you start building that confidence, and you have to do it in like small increments. people want to think that if I get into this state of mind where, how do I be a confident person? Just start winning the small battles. Just start aiming for like the tiny little things. Just go for those things. Aim for the small little battles. Aim for the small ones. And then when you start gaining momentum, Dave Ramsey is a fantastic example. This is a dude who was $1 million in debt. This guy was in debt up to he borrowed money up to beyond what he could pay back. He was in real estate. And the story goes that like the banks actually foreclosed. He lost everything. They wanted all their money back right there, right now. And he didn't have it. He's like, I ain't got it. So he had to go into foreclosure. The people lost their homes. He went into just bankruptcy. It was like boom, 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 and he he ended up just going into that like state of mind of like, wow, I really screwed up. So let's just figure it out. And he ended up taking action on small things, understanding what money is, what it's not, and what to do with it. And he slowly started attacking the small things, started getting small victories, and then he started getting back on his feet. And then that's all he ever does, is that he just pays attention to winning small battles. A lot of personal development goes into play, and you start building this confidence. You just know that, like when I got on this webinar, and I knew that I was going to have all this information on my phone rather than having a second monitor right over here or having notes in front of me, because I'm not at that point where I can just memorize everything like David Wood. He can just like scan everything and just like just take off like that, because it's amazing. But I knew everything's going to be all right. This is my show. It's going to get on. We're going to keep going, and we're going to have fun. And hopefully people get a good kick, get a good laugh, and get some value out of all this. So then the 10th thing, now this is something I'm so glad that I love to do, is that be a constant learner. When you're a constant learner, you're just expanding your horizons. One of the ways to be a really good learner is to just find whatever it is that you're attracted to and just get full of that knowledge. When I was reading books on like the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, that's a fantastic book. I almost called it Fantastic, but it's a fantastic book on how to actually win people over and influence people. And that is just simply, I started reading that book and I started going through it, and I could see, and it was actually Dave who was recommending that I go out and get it, and it was phenomenal. I was really impressed with Dale Carnegie and how he was putting himself. I mean, it's just so amazing how people can be in this. They go through different circumstances, but they all have like the same amount of pressure that's put on them to be great, to get themselves out of the circumstance that they're in, and when you finally get to that point of success, you're definitely you're always viewed as you are a constant learner. And one of the things that like I saw the other day, I actually heard it on a podcast and I saw it on Facebook at the same time, and it was from a different person. So there was two people saying the same things, and I want to mention this, is that the movie Rocky with Sylvester Stallone, that's amazing how that dude actually made the movie. He was on the street and he was just at his absolute lowest point in his life. His parents fought so much that they actually were too busy fighting that he was totally neglected. He got kicked out of schools. He was just he was a troubled kid. And when he got to life, as an adult, he started to really struggle with pretty much everything. And his wife was pregnant and they were homeless virtually. And what ended up happening was he said to himself, he trying to remember this, how we did this right now. He was in a place where he either saw I think he saw a movie or he saw a boxing match. It was one of the two. He saw like a movie, something inspired him, and he ended up, I think it was the movie. So like he saw a movie and it inspired him. Leave it in the comments if you know what it was. How he was able to just be so inspired. He's like, okay, I'm either gonna rob somebody so I can eat, so I can eat food, or I'm gonna make this movie happen. And he learned he just put himself in the place of like I've been learning how to be a fighter my whole life, and now I'm just gonna channel that all into this character. And what happened was that he wrote the movie Rocky in 3 days. And when he went to the producers, they offered him $125,000 for the script. He's like, that's, it's a great offer and all, but I'm only going to sell it to you if I'm the main character, because I can drive people to, I can be I need to be the character. I have the most passion for that. Because like he wanted to channel his whole learning experience of being, an abused kid, being through abusive relationships. He learned, his whole life. He can just put it in just this one focus area. He's like, I'm the only one who's going to be able to do that. So, yeah. And then what ended up happening, like you just said, Dave, he ended up, he got to a point where he actually had to sell his dog for $50. He sold his dog for $50. According to the thing on Facebook, it was saying how he sold his dog for $50 just so he could go eat. And he said that he was crying like as he walked away. I would be crying if I had to sell my cat for $50, which it would be amazing if I could get $50 out of that cat. Nobody would want to take in this cat except me. I'm the only human who likes that little thing. Who just it's amazing. But anyway, back to the point. He sold his dog. He walked away. He was bawling his eyes out because he was just like ashamed of it. He actually got the part for Rocky, and it was for like 10% of like their maximum price. I think they wanted $250,000 for this script. And he said, no, not unless I can be the main character. So then they offered him, I think it was like 25,000 or something like that. If you know how much it is, go ahead, drop it in the comments. And then he ended up going back. He went and bought his dog back for $3,000. So he could get his dog back. He got his life back, and then it became one of the best selling movies of all time. Everybody watches Rocky. They just know, they can just feel it. But the amazing thing is that like Stallone was in that moment of like he was still almost homeless, virtually. He was like virtually homeless making the movie. So all of his drive was there. Everything that he had learned throughout his life was that consistent learning. He just put it like right into that movie. And so when you're going to slay this dragon that's in you, you cannot rely on your past thoughts. You can't rely on like, well, everybody else says that, I can't learn anything. I can't do anything. I can't figure it out. That's not true. All you got to do is learn from other people who have succeeded before you, and you're going to get their results. All right. So the 11th thing is that you definitely want to take care of yourself. If you're showing results if you're showing that you are taking care of yourself, you're eating right, you're getting up every morning, you're being consistent, you're dedicated, you're taking care of your own personal needs, that you're showing that like you care about more about what you think of yourself rather than what everybody else thinks, that's going to utterly like take the dragon right out. It's gonna put that black arrow, send it right in that spot, and nail that thing. That is gonna be awesome. And then the 11th thing, we're trying to get it all up in here. I'm trying to wrap this all up here, is ambition and passion about your career. People are just naturally drawn to those who know exactly what they want in life. That is going to be so clear and so evident. If you've ever been around people who just they are in love with where they're going, what they want, and they know how to get it, they know what to do, that's going to be so incredibly attractive to other people. How many times have you seen like other people get on stage, they start talking about their success, they start talking about their goals in life, and they say, yeah, and so was the one who was like the reason why I got to this point. How many of you have actually gone and looked at that person's profile? Say like, all right, so say like I get on stage and I go up there and I'm saying my success, the reason why I'm able to stand on this stage today is because of like the small group of people, the workshop warriors, and Dave Raniker. Like, if I got up there and I said that guy's name, people who have no clue who he is would probably go and look for Dave Raniker and just buy his thing. You know, that's out of ambition and passion, people are just going to they're going to be highly attracted to those things. And so when you show that, when you demonstrate that, you're going to be wanted. So all right, so when you perform all 12 of these points, let's go over them, and then I'm going to sum it up as to like what people are going to like judge you as, because now that you're practicing all this, that your decisiveness, you have a decisive nature, that you're a person who can just figure out what you want, just get it done. You're prompt and punctual. You're well-mannered. You speak to people who with a politeness, and you're mirroring their behavior, so you're giving them a well-mannered response. You smile a lot. You have a great sense of humor. People are always going to be attracted to that. That's without fail. If you got a great sense of humor and you can just take things as they come, people are always going to rely on that. They're going to come back to you. They're going to want to hear a sense of humor. They're going to want some kind of comic relief, and you can be that source of comic relief. Even if you're not doing anything in business, they're going to want to have that. You want to maintain, number 6, you want to maintain a fun and easygoing conversation. This always attracts people to them when you're fun and you're just being easygoing. People are always attracted to that. If you are a good listener, this is probably going to be like one of the things that just dominates all areas in business, that people who listen, you could utterly fail at everything. You could have the worst sense of humor, but if you are a great listener and you understand what the person needs, it's better to be a great listener than to have like that's one trait that will absolutely, it's a skill very few people can get good at quickly. So if you can get good at it quickly, you're definitely going to be like going places. You're showing signs of stability. Relationships are just on point. You have great relationships with family and with friends and with coworkers and with your team. If you're showing great relationships, you're engaging with people, they're going to say like, he's going to engage with me back. You show signs of confidence in yourself, your confidence. You know yourself. You know exactly where you can put you can send. I don't know where that was coming from, but if you are confident in what you're about to do, people are going to take notice of that. They're going to just be attracted to that. And all these things is all about slaying that dragon. Like when you are confident, you're not going to doubt yourself. You're not going to get on stage and get like what do I say? Because you're just gonna know your audience, and you're gonna know how to engage with them. So then number 10, you want to be a constant learner. It's so much more entertaining than going on TV and watching television because it's all just garbage, it's junk. That you show that you take care of yourself, that you are, and then number 12, that you're ambitious and you're passionate about your career choices. So this will sum you up that as you practice all 12 of these things, you will show that you are a person of experience, that your character now has more substance and depth due to life experiences, you know, and that you are self-aware. Number 3, people who are self-aware, they have a great understanding of who they are. If you have self-awareness, you know who you are. There are some people who just they know exactly who they are, and they are not like anybody else. They are just being themselves. And part of the last one is your composure, and you actually want to come off as kind of slightly arrogant to other people because you're not going to go with the flow of where everybody else says you should go. If you decide that, like, I don't really agree with going down this road, I'm not going there. And you want to come across with, like, my way's better, and it legitimately is going to be better for your team. You want to show that composure. You're going to say, we're not going down that road. No, I don't quite agree with, the way that, this company is going. No. And people are going to be highly attracted to that. All these points will help you to utterly slay this dragon. I keep coming back to that point because it's so dramatic, but it's actually true. And if you just continuously practice it, you will get results. And so with that, I want you to picture yourself as that. I want you to picture yourself as a survivor. I want you to picture yourself as a person who could produce results. You can produce results, and that you can prosper. And all you got to do is start taking the small steps. You want to aim for small victories. All right. And so, with that being said, we're going to end this webinar tonight. And we started 10 minutes late, and we're ending 10 minutes late. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for engaging with me. And hopefully, this helps you out. Drop a comment. Like and subscribe, and there's a button below that says get started now. If you're watching the webinar right now, there's a button that says get started right now. Go ahead, click on that button below, and you can get started with me right now. We can work together, figure out exactly where you are, what are your strengths and weaknesses, what would be best, what would be the best fit for you. So go ahead, get on that right now, and I will see you next week, and it'll be a lot of fun. Take care. Now let's see if we can get this going, because last week, all right, we got it up. Okay, because last week, we couldn't figure out how to shut this thing off. We couldn't. It was just like, it just kept going. But I think we got it right now, and it's about to go